Hey, Book 2. Pumpkin wants to hang out. Come on. Coming? Anyway. Sorry, it's been a while. Had a lot going on. Bring this down a little bit. There we go. Thank you, Pumpkin. Had a lot going on. Haven't had a lot of time to be able to read. Some health issues. Had a tooth extracted. Things are falling apart physically. Like fridge died, other things died. It's not been a lot of fun lately. But you're not here for that. I figured I would talk about. Sorry. Figured I would talk about the what little I've been able to read and some books I picked up for the library sale. You have to excuse my voice; it's still not strong. I read this book by Lewis L. Snyder. This was a recommendation by Steve Donahue. I should definitely be watching his channel. This is Hitler and Nazism, and this edition came out in the 60s. Snyder wrote quite a bit on Hitler and the Nazis, and this is a very, you can see it's not very big. I got this for like $7 shipped on eBay. This is a very well written, concise history of Hitler's rise and dominance and fall. If you're interested, and you should be, and you don't want to get into some of those much longer tomes, I highly recommend this book. It's sorry for that. Sorry. I'm really impressed when somebody by someone's ability to take on such a subject and be so concise about it in a well written way. And oddly, he some of this he writes. I don't recall Steve mentioning this, but there's almost parts of this where he's writing it as a dark fairy tale in a way. You'd have to read it to understand that, but he's very serious about the subject. He apparently experienced some of this in person. So I look forward to. I want to check out some more books by this author. I'm pretty sure everything's out of print. Sorry, she's shedding. All right, so that's Louis B. Snyder's Hitler and Nazism. If you're looking, it even has an index. That's pretty impressive for that. And there's like a whole list of books in the back that Signet or Bantam here put out in this series. I'd like to check out more of those. Next up, I'm only, where am I at in this book? 72 pages. American Prometheus on Oppenheimer, Robert Oppenheimer. So this is what I started just prior to the my tooth extraction. So I haven't made it very far, but my most reading time was last Sunday, which I got a whole hour to read. So yeah, this has been very interesting. I'm very much reminded, reading about him, of that. Earlier I had discussed a book on Isaac Newton that I read, and it's amazing. Both gentlemen were very fortunate to have people in their lives to guide them towards an intellectual path versus one of a life of just work. And I often wonder what many of our lives would be like if we had that. We had that opportunity as well. His education was nothing like my education, and all my education was mostly learning to survive. So I can't imagine well, I mean, that's all I'm left with, my imagination of having such a opportunity. Of course, that led to some pretty dark stuff, which I don't think anyone wants to live with. But yeah. So this is where I'm at right now. I almost missed our local library sale, and thankfully I caught the last day of it, and everything was very cheap on the last day. And it's amazing I found what I did. First up is A World Undone, the story of the Great War, 1914 to 1918. This is by G.J. Meyer. I have not read anything by G.J. Meyer, but flipping through it, I thought this looked like it might be a good read. Definitely would like to know more about that period. There's a shout out to another shout out to Steve Donahue, old school Michener paperback. Unfortunately, it's not the first where you get the nice embossing or anything on it, but this is in really nice shape. I doubt that it was even read. There was a little bit of some phone numbers written in the back for some reason, but the book itself doesn't actually appear to have been. Spine is completely clean, no cracking. And here we have a Penguin edition, and this is I left on the price tag on here. I took off the other price tags, but I thought this one gives it. It looks like it was sold in a school bookstore in 1998. History of Modern France. There were a bunch of French history books there, and they all look very interesting to me. I had to, as cheap as everything was, I had to turn a lot down. I am running out of room. I mean, you can see I got a pile here, I got piles over there. My interest cannot keep up with my time and ability to read. So I had to turn some stuff down, including there was a interesting book on the French Foreign Legion there. I came very close to getting that, but it's going to have to wait. Next up, I thought this looked interesting, A History of the Arab Peoples. Looks like this was another school. It looks like a college bookstore sticker to me. But flipping through this looks very approachable in terms of its text. And speaking of, not just a thick book here, but some of the, I mean, this layout is pretty dense. And when we start getting into Oppenheimer's quantum physics studies and stuff, that's been slowing me down a bit. I mean, most of my understanding of quantum physics comes from Futurama. So, yeah. I have to read a few passages 2 or 3 times to get the gist of it. Next up, Umberto Eco's The Name of the Rose. Now, I think I might actually already have a copy of this, but I don't have one. I know it's not this edition. I thought this looked really... I like this trade paperback size, and this is in a translation by the Italian by William Weaver. So, flipping through it seems like a good translation, but I don't know for sure. And I'm familiar with Umberto Eco, but I've not read Umberto Eco. After that, I always try to score a Bob Woodward book I don't have, even though I have issues with what he's done in the last so many years. This is The Agenda on the Clinton administration. So, not a crazy thick tome. Bill and Hillary, much younger days. So yeah, there wasn't as much Woodward there as there normally is. The first book I found, and I think this was the most expensive one at $1. Most of these books were only 50 cents. This is arguably Essays by Christopher Hitchens. So Hitchens could be I've only read a couple of books by Hitchens, yeah, but always interesting at least. And finally, I have a standing thing of always picking up these golden books. This one's Guide to Reptiles, which I have an edition of this, but this has that nice. I don't know what. It's kind of like a linen type. I don't know what they kind of call this cover here. It's very flexible, great color reproductions inside, but I'm not sure if it shows at all. But you can see from the angles, there's like this kind of like linen type reinforcement with a glossy finish. I always pick these up, and how this is to me, how that's there on the last day for 50 cents, I don't know. And I think that's it for the books, and that's about 10 minutes time, so I'm sure that's all you want to hear about. Thanks for listening.